What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Dual Screens Gamescast episode 5. That's right. We're up to the 5th whole damn episode of this dumb show. I am one of your hosts, Stephen Fontana, and with me, as always, each and every week, without fail, he is Andy Asimakis. How are you, Andy?
This is quite a dumb show, but only because of both of us.
I
Only reason
love this show. I think this show is slowly becoming one of our best things.
You know, it consistently
we've
gets many downloads on par with the interview podcast, which I was kind of shocked by, because it sounds like people like what we have to say about certain topics.
Yeah, the interview shows get a little boost based on the person who's
right.
who is the interviewer. Like we get like a small portion of their audience in, but like it seems like our base consistently downloads every show we do, which is really nice. We do appreciate that.
We do.
Speaking of, what is this show? Oh, it's very simple. This is a show where Andy and I, and sometimes a third wheel, which by the way, we're having our first third wheel next week, but we will be tweeting about that.
You keep saying this third mystery guest.
I know.
Is it the longest blue balls case ever?
It is.
The tease is so intense right now.
I wanted our audience to get used to us. That's what I wanted. But I have
like 3 years.
Yeah, but maybe some new people came in to the show since we changed from Nintendo Dual Screens.
They've come in and they've stuck around. God bless your hearts.
I know, right? So we're going to have a guest next week, and we may even have one the following week, but I may push that one to be the week after because I don't want to do that every week. It's just a pain in the ass to have that. We also have guests lined up for our very special live from PAX East show. We're going to have guests for that.
That's like three weeks away? No.
4 weeks.
3.5. Yeah. 4 weeks. Damn.
Mm-hmm. Very exciting stuff. Anyway, this is a show where we go over the top story from the big three companies, that's Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft, and we debate who had the best and worst week of all, as well as discussing video games past, present, and future. The Dual Screens Gamescast posts each and every Monday for your listening pleasure on your podcast service of choice, including YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. And of course, you can find everything that we do on dualscreens.com. Please, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, go to scroll down. If you're on your phone or iPod, if you still have an iPod, I'm sorry, but scroll all the way down, and then there's a little review thing. Click the 5 stars, leave us a review. It helps get the show in front of more and more eyes. It just helps the show out tremendously. On this week's Gamescast, PS5 details are as leaky as a waterfall. Nintendo continues to Nintendo, for better or worse. Xbox did not have a good 2019 despite all the goodwill, and the wild card gets micro. But before we get into the show, let's tell you about the other shows we have right here on this very channel, this podcast network. You can listen to the Dual Screens podcast. That's an interview show where we bring on an industry guest to tell us their story. That posts on Thursday. And Andy, who is our guest this week?
Oh, this week we're having on the wonderful folks at Vertigo Games. We're talking about Cook, Serve, Delicious 3. Or is it 3? Because there's like a question mark, exclamation point in the title.
That should be a fun one.
But yeah, that game is now in early access, which I should play before speaking to the dude. But that would be helpful. Seem very eager, very excited.
At least one of us should do that.
Yes.
Cook Serve Delicious 3 has been all over my inbox.
Yeah,
all over my Twitter feed. It's crazy.
That has a strong following, that series of games.
This is what I've heard.
I know.
This is what I've heard.
And that's why they're on the show.
And of course, we don't have one for this week, but you can go back and listen to the first 2 episodes of our seasonal content, which is a bi-weekly show, and the first season of Andy Explains It All is in full swing, and last week's episode was all about Metal Gear, and those post each and every other Friday for your listening pleasure.
Yeah, if you got 2 hours to kill of your life, like
2 hours and 22 minutes, Andy.
If you find 2 hours to spare during the day, you can hear me talk about Metal Gear for 2.5 hours.
Indeed. And if you want to support us on Patreon, it's very easy. Go to patreon.com/NDS podcast, just like our Patreon producer, Colton, the apprentice Nestler. We cannot continue to grow without all of y'all's support, so it really does help us out tremendously. And not only that, but our tiers there are so fluid. You could do so many different things. For $1, you get into our VIP Discord channel where you can hang out with us, each other, and some of our indie dev guests that are in there hanging out. We also have a bonus audio that you get for $1. It's a bonus show each and every month. And this last January's show was Steve Explains It All, and it was all about professional wrestling. And no, it wasn't 2 hours and 22 minutes. It was about an hour and a half.
Thank God.
But all the people in Patreon that have listened to it have said nothing but great things about it, even the people that don't like wrestling. So much so that I think we're going to put that up as a preview, a Patreon preview. I'm going to get permission from our patrons before I do it, but I think I want to put that up as a special Steve Explains It All this Friday to see if we can entice more patrons, because we do a lot of really fun stuff. You get to vote the topic of the show that we discuss on our bonus show, so it's a really cool thing to be a part of. All right, 6 minutes into the show, and we still haven't started the show.
We're so good.
It is time.
So good at this.
I know we're the best at this. We're the best at this. It is time now
3 years.
for Adventures in Gaming. Andy, what have you been playing?
So I finally finished Neo. So that's like done, sort of, for a little while ish. Didn't quite finish Dead Cells, but more on that later. Yes. But I did start playing a Taiwanese horror game.
Oh my.
Which was so good I had to stop playing it. Now, let me explain. It was so goddamn good, I want to start streaming it.
Interesting.
So I played about maybe half an hour to an hour of it, and it just kept getting better and better. It's like, you've played PT, right?
No, I've never played
Oh
PT.
shit. Okay, so PT, well, for those who don't know what PT is, PT was the playable teaser that Kojima made. His like sort of announcing Silent Hills, which died tragically. So this game plays a lot like PT, where it's in the loop of an apartment building. A lot of Chinese folklore and visuals. And this game was apparently banned in the States. Interesting. Huge controversy. So it was released on Steam a while ago, years ago, and then it was pulled because there is a Winnie the Pooh joke towards President Xi of China,
right?
Which
he
highly sensitive about.
Yeah, I don't know why. I would be like, yeah, absolutely,
sure, why not? Well, that's communism. That's how they do things over there. It's
better than a fucking Paddington,
right? So the game was pulled from Steam, and I've had it, and I was like, you know what? Let me play this because it's been sitting there for a while. This may be my February backlog game.
Interesting.
Let me get a jump start.
Dip your toe in the water. Right. Got it.
And it was late at night. All the lights were off, and it got really creepy.
Nice.
I was like, I like to capture my reactions for a stream, so
love it.
That's coming down the pipeline.
Love it. Yes, so Andy definitely wants to start streaming now, so we have some work to do. It's been almost 2 years. No, well, oh no, it's a little over a year.
Yeah, so
a little over a year.
There. I'm getting there.
You're getting there.
The right
Andy,
game.
The right game gets you, yeah, but we'll see. I beat my AAA backlog game. I beat Jedi Fallen Order. Again, I played it on baby mode, but even on that mode, which is called story mode, even on that mode, I found the combat not to be very good.
It's called story mode?
Yes, it's called story mode. I wasn't a fan of...
Oh boy, that's priceless.
It's the same shit as Death Stranding. It just makes things easier to do.
It's called easy mode in that game.
Yeah. But it's essentially the same thing. It just makes the combat a little bit more forgiving. The enemies a little less aggressive. But even so, I felt like the things that made me turn the difficulty down didn't go away, which was when you get into a combat scenario, like let's say there's one main bad guy like that is like the general, let's say, and then there's a bunch of cannon fodder. Going up to the going up to the guy, the main guy, the general, and locking onto him, and then getting into a fight with him, the camera kind of zooms a little bit too close to that action, and there's no indicator behind you or on screen anywhere that you're going to be attacked at any point. So it kind of just you kind of just get hit from behind, and you're like, oh shit. There's some audio cues with like ranged attacks, but there's and sometimes there's some audio cues, but I feel like it would have benefited if it had something more like an Arkham game or a Spider-Man, where there's just a little bit of a visual cue that you know something is going on behind you, so you could just like hit the block button, parry them, kill them, and because they're cannon fodder, they're really easy to kill anyway.
Now, I'm a little curious. I'm gonna go take my own life right now.
Oh god.
Would you have turned it down difficulty-wise if it wasn't for this whole backlog pact we've made on the podcast?
I started playing that on story mode before that we
Okay.
did that. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I played I was playing the
Did you hit a
first
wall
area.
that you couldn't quite pass
No,
difficulty-wise?
no, I hit an optional boss. It's a lot like a Souls game or Bloodborne, where you can go on a path, and there's like a item that you can collect, but it's guarded by kind of a harder boss for that area, and you're meant to come back to it when you have a couple more powers. But I was going there, and I'm like getting so close to beating him, and I'm like, I just want the thing behind it. So I lowered it down to beat him, and then I realized, oh, I'm still having difficulty beating this thing because they put you in an arena where the walls just get in the way of the camera. It's really fucking annoying. I feel like they needed like 6 months to really refine how the camera works in a combat scenario and kind of give so that it works more to your advantage, even if it pulls like up, just so you could see what's going on better. I mean, I just felt like I was fighting the not necessarily only the camera, but I was fighting the world more than I was fighting the enemies, I guess would be something. Like one thing that kept happening, the way the game does climbing, you have to run up against the wall and then press L2 to actually climb. There were times where I would be fighting and I'd do like a backflip and I would hit this wall and I'd get stuck in like a falling animation with like my arms up. And I would just be sitting there like swinging like this, like side by side, twisting my body, and I'm like, come on, land on your feet, goddammit. But then I would like hold L2. Exactly. And then I would hold L2 and then he'd grab the wall and then I'd let go and then he'd finally fall on his feet. But by then I took a bunch of damage. It was just little things. And then there's this stupid sliding mechanic thing that like it's like you're part of the traversal and the platforming. You hit these like mud slides or ice slides and you slide down and they're super poorly made. Just really terrible. And they do them way too often. But it's a solid 8 out of 10 for me. I definitely think if you're a Star Wars fan, it's a buy. It's a must buy. The story's really good. The presentation is really, really good story-wise. But I would say like the combat and the world itself leaves a little bit to be desired. So if you're not a Star Wars guy, but you're a Souls guy, I would say wait for a price dropper on that one. The other game I started. So I also did not finish one of my backlogs, my in the indie game backlog, but I did get close. But I started Dragon Ball Z Kakarot yesterday.
How was that?
I recognize that it is not a great game, but I'm loving the shit out of it.
Okay,
I am
that's all
having
that matters.
so much fun, dude. I'm having so much fun playing this stupid ass game, like. It's so, like, the combat is so simple, but it ramps up in difficulty to the point where I almost threw my controller. But then I realized, oh, I just have to buy potions. So then I buy potions. Now every fight seems super easy because I'll just be like, oh, I'm almost dead. Potion. All right, now it's like a brand new fight. But it's so much fun reliving.
Potion mode.
Yeah, the combat reminds me of a less polished Kingdom Hearts game. But it's a familiar story. You're literally just playing through the Dragon Ball Z saga from Raditz all the way up to Boo. I don't know if you know Dragon Ball Z, but it's essentially just the Z saga, and you're playing it from all of the Z heroes' perspective, specifically Goku, who's, of course, his birth name is Kakarot.
Obviously.
He's Superman. It's a Superman story. Kal-El, Kakarot,
Sure.
Goku, Clark Kent. It's basically that.
It's all the same.
But it's great.
Okay.
I'm having a blast with it. It's another one of those situations. If you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, you're going to love this game. If you like action RPGs, you're probably going to think that this could have been way better. If you don't like action RPGs, stay away from this game because it's not going to do anything to make you want to play any more than maybe 2 hours. Now it's time, Andy,
Yeah,
for a brand new segment.
Oh god, I saw it and I already hated it.
A brand new segment called
This is so stupid.
A Minute of Apex Legends with Steve.
Can I take a nap
you
for a
don't-
minute?
Because you don't play Apex Legends, so I don't want to
Right, let me just
slog you down. So
white noise for 60 seconds.
here we go.
Go,
Here's my 1 minute.
go
You ready?
ahead. 1 minute.
And begin. So remember that character I was so excited about, Forge? Remember I was like, they have a new character. He's like a melee.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like an MMA wrestling guy.
Yeah. with
Okay,
metal
so they
limbs and some
did-
shit.
They did a interview, like a cartoon and anime style interview with him. And as he's getting interviewed, he gets murdered during the interview by a character named Revenant. So this whole thing about Forge coming to Apex Legends was a swerve. He's not coming to the game. This other character that murdered him is coming to the game. So he was murdered, and then they did a trailer for Season 4, which Season 4 is called Assimilation. It's all about Revenant and his kind of backstory. He's like, it starts off with him looking at a mirror, and he's like a regular dude. But then when you see him fighting, he's a robot. So he sees himself as what he used to be, but apparently he's been really fucked with and turned into some sort of cyborg robot assassin. He looks really awesome, and I'm really excited for Tuesday when Season 4 starts. And that is a minute of Apex Legends.
I think that
with
was
Steve.
almost exactly a minute.
That's it. That's all we
I
need.
think you did it.
That's all we need. Buzz was saying, no, we don't need this, please. But there
One
it
of
is.
the rare times when Buzz is right about something. A broken clock is right twice a day.
True. All right, Andy, now it's time for the indie news update. What do you got for me on the indie front?
Oh, is this my job? It's blank.
You got nothing?
I didn't put anything in there.
Yeah, this is your job. This is the one job I gave you on the whole fucking doc. Well, I'll give our listeners an update because I'm going to be streaming, or not streaming. I'm going to be doing a dual screens first play of an indie game that I kickstarted a long time ago, and it came out a while ago, but I never had the chance to really sit down. And it's a game called Don't Give Up. It's an RPG with really interesting combat mechanics. It was made by one dude, and it's essentially a commentary on mental health and all that stuff, but it looks really cute, and I really like the message. I really like the kid that was making it. He was really sweet. So I backed it. I got the code. I got the code late because I never filled out the survey because I'm so bad at filling out those surveys that you get on Kickstarter. But I did get a copy, and I do want to do a first play of it because not a lot of people heard of the game. So I think if I do a first play and get it out there, some people might take a chance on it. It's pretty cool.
You know, speaking about Kickstarter games, I'm kind of surprised how much Temtem is catching on.
Yeah,
I've been seeing it pop up more and more on Reddit and gaming forums.
It's in mainstream podcasts.
It's becoming very popular. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people are calling it out for its blatant ripping off of Pokemon.
Sure.
Because it's more on the nose than people might have thought it was going to be. Like, even the opening riff of the theme song sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
It's like dun dun dun, and you're like, oh, Pokemon. But like Giant Bomb, and they have been playing it and talking about it a lot. There's only 80 Temtem monsters, so I mean, it definitely has room to grow.
It's
really
still early access, so it's not like it's the final.
It is, but they definitely need to work on. And I played the alpha. Now that it's in early access, I haven't jumped in because. If you remember, I can't because I chose the Switch as my version. So I'm gonna have to wait to share.
About this.
Yes, I have to wait to share your Steam library, and then I'll play it on
Aren't
that.
you already on it?
I removed it because I kept getting alerts every 5 minutes from your fucking account. It was like, action required, action required, action required. All right, buddy, relax. But yeah, it's as far as what I'm being told, it's got a lot of work to go, and you know, the Switch version isn't coming out for a year, so I guess they take that time to really fix that shit. So
all right,
yep.
moving on.
Yes, we're going to move on. It is time to get into the news. But first, let's tell you all of the massive amounts of news that did not make
Stuff.
a lot of things.
Go through
Andy,
this
why don't you
quickly.
take the first one?
Okay, so let's see here. This is a multi-platform gaming news, apparently. Look at this as I click it open. So apparently, a multiplayer patch for Neverwinter Nights on Xbox One has released.
Yep.
It's finally here.
Yes, and it also, I believe, includes crossplay now
Yes,
with
it
Switch
does.
and PC.
Oh, the games
So
are on
there you
Switch? Oh, they are on Switch. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
So remember that whole Star Wars thing I was talking about, the Jedi Fallen Order?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be bothering anybody because this thing is on pace to sell 10 million copies by March 31st.
Now, wait, I
Uh,
thought that single-player games didn't sell.
Right, specifically from EA.
Right.
Right. Jedi, this is coming from GameSpot by Eddie McHutch?
Yeah, sure. Just go with that.
Whatever.
Go with the first one.
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order has been a sales juggernaut for Electronic Arts. The company announced on an earnings call today that Fallen Order sold significantly beyond the company's expectations and is now expected to sell 10 million copies by March 31st. They originally thought 6 to 8 million copies, but it sold more than 8 million copies already. So it's going above expectations, which is cool. Next story, Andy, please.
Ooh, this is actually kind of exciting. Wizards of the Coast new game studio is making a new sci-fi RPG with BioWare vets. Like true BioWare when BioWare was a good company.
When BioWare was actually BioWare.
Before it became a Garbage Town USA.
Correct.
So the new studio called Archetype Entertainment will be led by former BioWare veterans James Auckland and Chad Robertson. And they made games such as Baldur's Gate, Dragon Age, Neverwinter Nights, Star Wars: The Old Republic.
My desk just moved about
Nights.
2 inches
Yes,
higher.
I'm sure it did. That's as far as it goes.
It's very exciting.
So yeah, this is really cool. It's actually a proper BioWare talent making a game again, not BioWare in name only, like it is today.
Indeed. And from Wizards to Blizzards, this is some bullshit here.
This is the dumbest thing I read all week.
This is insane. So Blizzard put out Warcraft 3 Reforged, and the people are revolting against it because apparently the game came out and it is nothing like what they promised they were going to be doing to this remastering.
It has a 0.6 on Metacritic. Did you see this?
It's they clearly phoned this one in,
right,
and people are pissed. But now multiple reports have surfaced that Blizzard is actively banning people on the official Warcraft forums for helping other people get a Warcraft 3 Reforged refund.
You really can't make this shit up.
So people are trying to get a refund.
It sounds like an Onion headline.
This is nuts.
But it's not the Onion. Could you?
No,
imagine?
it's not. It's insane.
Oh, how far have you fallen? Like, you would think when you say things like, don't you all have cell phones? You couldn't go any lower. This is lower than that.
Yeah,
but you know what's not low?
Yeah.
Rockstar's game sales.
Insanity.
Holy
Andy.
hell. Holy hell.
Go ahead, tell us all about it.
These things don't have legs. It's just like they have a million legs. They just keep sprouting legs and they run the
1,000 legs.
I just can't understand. Are there enough gamers in the world? I feel like it's going to cap out at some point, but people keep buying these games.
I know.
So, record-breaking holiday season for Rockstar with GTA 5 and Red Dead 2. It just won't stop.
What are the numbers on that? Did you open that up?
I'm clicking it right now.
Yeah, tell me what the numbers are, because I can't. I feel like whatever number I come up with in my head is going to be lower than the number that they get.
I'm pretty sure by the time this podcast goes live in 2 days, it'll have doubled by then. So let's scroll down here. So GTA Online, Red Dead Online have a record-breaking holiday season. This comes from RockstarGames.com. Let's scroll. Give us your numbers. Massive thank you. I don't see numbers here. It just is record breaking.
Okay, great. Now, I have two questions. One,
Sure.
who doesn't have this game? And two, I'm one of the people that doesn't have it, but I'm also like one of the. I thought I was one of the only people that just wouldn't be, swayed. I don't know. This is so weird.
GTA 5 has been on the top 10 list since it's been released.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
And it's never going to end until GTA 6 comes out.
Why? Why even make it? Don't even bother.
Well, 2K Games wants more out of Rockstar, so
yeah. Okay, Bully 2. Bully 2 could be the next GTA.
Give me New Manhunt. That's what I want.
Yeah, me too.
But I really
all right, this next story, speaking of things that will never end, it looks like Capcom is just going to keep rolling the ball. So we got some potential Resident Evil 8 details that have leaked. This is a Twitter leak, and then there was like a YouTube video, but I'm just going to read the bullet points here from somebody named Nibellion, at Nibellion, Nibellion.
He's fairly consistent with his leaks and rumors. He's kind of up there, yeah. I trust this.
All right. So we have Ethan from 7 is the protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
It's first person again.
Mm-hmm.
Zombies make a return.
Mm-hmm.
There's a new enemy type, werewolves.
Okay.
A new stalker enemy type.
All right.
And Chris Redfield will return in some form.
All right. I like maybe 75% of this list.
Okay. You don't like werewolves?
No, that's kind of okay. Weird, but whatever. It could be neat if it was a Castlevania game. Ethan was awesome in 7, but I feel can we give him a break? His story's kind of done.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Right, but it's without spoiling too much. 7 is a bit it's a bit of a closed loop.
Okay. It's a contained story.
Right, it's very contained.
Got it.
And I like Ethan. I think give me a chance to miss him a little bit before you bring him back into the fray.
Yeah.
And that's it. Chris coming back is awesome in some way or another.
Wait, how much more time do you need? We had 2 remake, we had 3 remake.
No. Those are just old games remade.
Yeah, but still, it's going to be 3 years before we get the next one.
But still, it's like, come on, let's not just rest on Ethan. Like, he just got there. Let's bring in some more new blood. I liked the storytelling of 7. It was a very simple story. Again, very self-contained. It was like a side story to the main franchise. It wasn't.
Does it have anything to do with like Umbrella and all that shit?
It's sort of in the background.
Okay.
But that's why I loved it. It wasn't bogged by all the lore of Resident Evil. Like how 6 was. Moving on.
Move on.
MoveOn.org. Ooh, we have an Xbox update rolling out. Because I give a shit about this news.
Hey, it's happening.
What is it exactly? Let's find out.
February update. They're changing the whole layout of what the Xbox
thing looks like.
It's the whole dashboard's changing, but it's only going out to like those alpha and those pre-alpha people.
Oh, so
whatever the hell they're called. I'm sure Buzz will type some nerdy shit in the chat. Xbox boner. Blah blah blah. Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer.
I love Phil Spencer. The plebs don't get that.
I love Phil Spencer. Nah, but it's fine. Listen, that thing needed an update because that's like one of the biggest complaints I hear about the Xbox One is that the HUD or whatever the hell you call it, the
dashboard.
UI
dashboard.
The dashboard, yes, is terrible. So yeah,
I missed the blades from the Xbox 360.
The blades were cool until there was a moment where they had those fucking advertisements autoplay.
Oh yeah,
do you remember that? Like that was so miserable. Like oh my god, they just keep ruining things. Just keep things simple.
Let's put ads in the fucking dashboard.
Whatever. I mean, there are ads on like PlayStation and all that stuff, but they don't autoplay.
Right.
But yeah, the Insider Ring is getting it earlier. I don't fucking know. All right, the next one comes from Polygon. PlayStation survey hints that PS4 remote play could soon come to Switch.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting. PlayStation games could soon. This almost made the news, but there was something else
Right.
that took its place. The survey comes from a Reddit user. The survey itself is focused on the remote play feature. According to the Reddit post, the survey discussed remote play on a variety of different devices, including Nintendo Switch and Xbox One. It even asked about using remote play on non-gaming devices like Apple TV and Android TV. The poster also mentions a section about using a generic handheld device, whatever that means. As for versions of remote play that already exist, the survey also discusses the idea of PlayStation and PlayStation 2 games joining the remote play lineup. It also asks if users like the idea of being able to adjust audio and video quality to help reduce lag and the reducing of size of the on-screen controller to give you more room to see the game. You know, when you're playing on a touchscreen, the controller layout is out there and it's really annoying. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. If that, I think they should definitely do that. I think that would put this thing. They would be going into PS5 generation. I mean, it's the survey specifically said PS4 remote play, but I think that's just because they didn't announce anything for PS5.
Right.
But I think this is clearly for a PS5 situation, like what they're going to do with their remote play.
Mm-hmm.
But if they could get on par with what Microsoft is going to roll out, and I don't think Nintendo would not allow that. I mean, you would be able to have a really cool machine for $300 from Nintendo that could also play PlayStation and maybe possibly even Xbox games. That's pretty cool.
Well, you still got to own the PS4 and the game.
Right.
So
No, I know. I'm just
Right.
saying, like, it might be an added incentive for somebody to buy a
Right.
Switch as a second console.
this just seems to me like Sony's officially done with the handheld market. Like, they're not getting back in that pool ever again. For the
Well, crazier
that's
things have happened.
right, but I don't see it happening anytime soon.
Speaking of crazy things, Andy, we got some Switch sales
Oh,
numbers.
the
Take this
Switch-
bad boy.
The
This is the
Switch
final of the things that didn't make
has
the cut.
officially outsold the SNES. 52 million, baby.
Insanity.
That is-
52 million.
That is bananas, bonkers, insanity. And then Pokemon Sword and Shield sales top 16 million. Holy shit. It just came out like 2 months ago.
I know.
That is
It's insanity.
this is why people, when we have news like the DLC pricing and the new Pokemon Home pricing, we can bitch 6 ways to Sunday about it, but
I know.
it ain't gonna mean anything. And
I know.
and that's not to get back into a little foreshadowing into our wild card, that nothing of what we talk about ever really matters. That
I know.
all of our complaints fall on deaf ears. All right, and with
All right,
that,
let's check in. Let's check in real quick with the
Chat.
live chat. See what their thoughts are on these stories that didn't make the cut. Farmer Pete says the Metal Gear episode made me go download the Metal Gear Solid collection on Game Pass to check it out again. Sadly, it does not include the first one.
It does not.
Sorry, Pete.
Or part 4, just 2 and 3.
Yeah, that's weird. Buzz, what did you said? No, that's good. It's just remote play. It's not xCloud. LOL. Yes, but also I think that because PlayStation 5 has not told us what their remote play and PS Now is going to look like for next gen, this could be an amalgamation of both of those things into one thing. So this could be them gearing up to do something on par with xCloud, especially since they're actually partnering with Microsoft on their cloud technology. So it's a possibility that they're just looking to do something to compete in that arena, to kind of set themselves up to be up to par with Microsoft going forward into next gen. Alrighty, now it is time to get into the Dual Screens report. This is how it works. Each one of the big three companies, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, we each pick one major story for the week and make that their story of the week. And then we have a wild card story, which is going to be the fourth story. And we are going to then declare a winner of the week and a loser of the week. Sometimes it's multiple winners. Sometimes it's more losers.
We might actually debate this week as to who the winners and losers are.
Buzz is keeping track of all of this, so that if you have any questions, hit up Buzz Killington. You could follow him on Mixer. It's on Buzz Killington. And you could email him, I'm sure. You could find him on Facebook. He's somewhere. Adam. Or give us $1 on our Patreon, get into our Discord, and just at Buzz Killington all day long. All day long.
We'd appreciate that immensely.
Yes, we would. Do you want to tell them about Philbot before we get
Oh,
into the?
I feel okay. So for those who are um long-time listeners or even first-time listeners of the podcast, our Discord contains a very special guest, and that's Phil Spencer. He is actually
Mm-hmm.
he's part of our Discord, and he says the craziest shit. And that's all I'm gonna say. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to find out more, go to patreon.com/NDS podcast, and
Mm-hmm.
for $1, you too can talk to Phil Spencer.
Maybe
Get the
because I think he was shut down
and
today.
get we can bring him back. We need like a Sarah McLachlan soundtrack, Save Our Philbot. It's playing right now. But yeah, he gives you the real dirt. He
He
says
does.
he has the true secrets.
He does.
He is also homeless.
He is. All right. It is time to get into the dual screens report. Andy, take this first one.
Oh, this is like the most persistent thing ever at this point, and I feel it's the date on all these rumors is so close that I feel it's been debunked at this point. But whatever, we're still gonna talk about it. PS5 pricing and specs rumors are always abound, and now there's more of them coming up. This comes from a reliable source on 4chan, which all those things are always true.
Yeah.
And this leak reads a lot, and this comes from bgr.com, by the way. This leak reads a lot like a similar rumor from a few weeks back. So I guess they just did a copy and paste job and threw some more fun shit in there. Now, the two key persistent things about this rumor is that on February 5th is the reveal date for the PS5. But there's been no press invites or details, and it's going to be the 3rd come Monday. And I really doubt if you're inviting press to a big console reveal like the PS4 was 7 years ago, I think, to this day, when they first teased PS4. A little fun fact for you, listener. That's not going to come together in 2 days. So I think that kind of kills a lot of this stuff off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
But and there's also this whole legacy games library backwards compatibility thing we've been hearing about, that the PS5 can play all games from PS1 through PS4, which I think is the best feature if that's true. But we got some more specs on the SSD, on the internal hard drive, pricing, which I think is 500, which seems like a really honest estimate and guess. Like if I was to guess a price, I'd probably place it around that price range. So it's not really a big deal if it's true or false. It's really an honest and estimate at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so the key points here is that Sony is trying to fit in a 2 terabyte hard drive, a SSD drive.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Into this bad boy. They'll make it run faster than the Series X console, which is interesting. And this leak also suggests a 1 terabyte of flash memory also on board.
Yeah, that's probably the most interesting to me.
Right.
Like, yeah, maybe that's where the system could operate from,
Right.
the system OS and stuff like that,
And,
which would be really nice because that always takes up such a big chunk of the hard drive.
right. And also this excuse me, this new cloud features they have going on. You can play up to 4 games at once. Like you can pause them in different places.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you can play your Control and like I'll pause it at this point, and you can pick it up at the same exact point up to 4 games, which is
really cool because I always want to have Apex on because like
right.
if Mikey Kirsch, if he's sending me an invite, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh man,
so
I'm in this game.
It's always at the loadout for you.
Yeah.
So,
we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, listen, these are very persistent rumors, but again, we're like 2 days away from this date apparently, and I don't see it happening. So does that dispel and like debunk all this information? Potentially.
Maybe.
But, a lot of things are similar from different sources. So we'll see. We'll see.
What if they read the date wrong and it's European date and it's 5/2 instead of
it's May
2/5?
May 2nd.
Yeah.
What day of the week is that? Is it a weekend?
I don't know. Let's see.
I'll look it up really quickly.
Yeah. May 2nd.
And there was also, I think, another part that's
Saturday.
then it's a lie. So the other part was that the PS5 is 1 teraflop less than the Series X.
Right. Yeah, I was looking at a lot of like Digital Foundry I think was explaining the whole teraflop thing, and it's like depending on the type of RAM you have, the teraflop of the processor can be offset, and also a processor that has more, or is it the GPU? I forget whatever the whole teraflop thing is, but essentially they were saying that like you can offset the difference with less expensive parts, and it seems like that's where PS5 is going to kind of make up the difference in the teraflop thing, and they're going to have to really get that message across because the hardcore fanboys are going to look at a teraflop and they're going to scream it at the top of a mountain, cough cough, Buzz Killington. But I mean, at the end of the day, none of this really matters. Just play games, play great games, have come out with great games, and make everything run really well, and it really doesn't matter. But
No, listen, we've had this talk before when if you compare a game like Gears of War 5 and God of War, Gears of War 5 runs and was built on a more powerful system, the Xbox One X, but doesn't look near as detailed or particle effect heavy as God of War does.
well, that's because Gears had to be built for the original Xbox One,
right. But if you
which
even if
yeah.
you look at still even God of War had to run on the PS4 OG hardware as well.
But the PS4 OG was more powerful than the Xbox One.
That's very true.
And that's why specifically CD Projekt came out and said they delayed Cyberpunk, and they specifically called out. Now later they clarified and said it was both PS4 and Xbox One, but they came out specifically at the beginning and said we cannot get this game to run well on Xbox One original.
Mm-hmm.
And then people were like, "Oh, well, that kind of makes sense because it's since been reiterated on now twice, essentially."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing that worries me about Xbox's strategy going into next gen, because if you are telling people that for at least the first year, you're not going to have any games specific to the X, that means the developers are building to the Xbox One OG all the way up to the Xbox Series X, and man, those original Xbox owners are gonna those games are gonna run like shit. Like Jedi Fallen Order runs like shit on the base models as it is, and the game even on my Pro stuttered a lot. Like these games for the tail end of this gen are going to have a big problem on those OG consoles.
When you think about that fact about how Microsoft is not going to release any exclusive games on the Series X, and they'll all be across the board for OG, the old systems, those are for the last and what will be the current gen, which is the next gen.
Right, and they said for like 18 months, but yeah.
The last part of this leak mentioned that the Xbox Lockhart, which is the code name for the weaker Series X model, is being developed, but it's not ready for the fall release. Right. This could explain why they want to keep it like, let's have our new games be on both the One X and Series X, and then when the Lockhart launches, then we'll move on to exclusive next gen.
Right.
Games.
Yeah. No, that makes complete sense. And the other part of this leak, I don't know if you read that part yet. If I missed it, is that they're only going to do one SKU PlayStation.
Right. Which is great.
Yeah, which is great. I was kind of hoping that they would come out with something less, like maybe an all digital style thing, just to get something that is cheaper on the market. But I mean, as long as they have first party games at launch, I don't think it really matters.
Yeah, if one of the big hooks is playing legacy titles like popping a PS1 disc, then you got that disc drive in there.
Yeah, of course.
They mentioned on this leak about how Microsoft snatched up marketing rights for the new Rocksteady game.
Mm-hmm.
But the WB Games Montreal called at this point a rumor Batman Arkham Legacy is up for grabs on the marketing side. But again, all with a grain of salt.
Yes, indeed.
All right, next story.
Yes, next story. Hang on. It's not letting me use my ad blocker on this one. This is the last time I use this fucking site. All right. Nintendo gonna Nintendo.
Oh my god. Why?
Animal Crossing New Horizons is limited to one island per console.
Just so you know, I really thought we would mention the Pokemon home pricing at $16 a year for this week's Nintendo news story. It
Yeah,
wasn't
I
even in
mean,
the things we cut, which I was shocked by.
I personally I don't give a shit about it. Like I just don't, and I have nothing to say about it. I don't know if
Sure.
it's good or bad pricing. It's fucking $16. It's literally 4 cups of coffee in Manhattan. Like
Right.
I don't care. It's not something I'm gonna use. I've never used Pokemon Bank. I play a new Pokemon game. I catch all my Pokemon from scratch every time, so it doesn't really bother me. But
Gotcha.
so Nintendo'd there, but now they're Nintendoing with Animal Crossing. And just like on Pokemon, they're just allowing one save data per Switch console, and I get it. You don't want people spoofing
Or
and
safe
yada
scumming.
yada.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, come on, man. Like,
I just don't understand. Like, this is Nintendo's priority. We don't want to have cheaters in Animal Crossing. Who gives a shit? It's fucking Animal Crossing.
yeah,
Like,
it's
no
not.
one cares.
Yeah.
No one really cares.
Unless, do you think that do you think that this is alluding to the fact that maybe the game is going to have like microtransactions and it's going to be like a games of service?
Oh God, I hope not.
Like, what if they come out and what if this
Like
game
the
is like
mobile
free to
game?
play or like $30
Oh Lord Jesus, help me now.
and they pump it full of microtransactions
I don't understand
like a Minecraft
the
or
thinking behind this decision.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't like having just a one save file. Like, what if I fuck up in somewhere or miss something or I don't know. Like, I don't like having that pressure on myself. I
Yeah,
detect that it will just auto save as you play along, which also bothers me. I don't get it. I just don't.
yeah. So I mean, it's still you could still pre-order it for full price, so it is a full price game.
Right.
I just I don't know, man.
But if I'm playing offline on my own without any of my, friends or whatever, only one
Wasn't
save file, like what's the point of that?
wasn't the fun of Animal Crossing like skipping the clock ahead and fucking everything up
Yeah,
for
it
yourself?
was. It was.
Like, let people do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Come on, Nintendo, get with it.
I just think that Nintendo, for whatever reason, can't get out of their own way with shit like this. Like, they're so smart, they're stupid. That's really what it comes down to. Like, they overthink. Oh, but the players, they're gonna steal from the children. It's because the children were.
We're not. It's not an esports game. It's not a competitive multiplayer game. It's just fucking Animal Crossing. What's the big drama about? Because some 5-year-old may whine about to his mom. Someone got my gold, my golden hoe for me or some shit, or my golden water
So
can.
Games Radar. Let's see who's this author. The author is Austin Wood. His closing paragraph. I want to read it because he makes a good point here. And then I'm never gonna read another one of his fucking articles on this godforsaken website that doesn't let me block these fucking ads that make it scrolling fucking impossible because there's 3 fucking videos playing on this stupid fucking website at the same
That's
goddamn
a lot
time.
of fucks you just dropped there.
I'm sorry.
It's real. There's a lot of rage. It's not like you.
He says, this is by no means a deal-breaking limitation, but it is a limitation I imagine many players, especially those who share a Switch or indeed have children who share one system, would be happier without. If you do share a system, you can still create your own characters, but you'll wind up sharing an island, which is a bit of a bummer. Imagine if your friend or roommate could make another island on your console, and you could sail to and tour their island in your game.
Missed opportunities, to say the least.
Yeah. It's just make a fun video game. Stop putting whatever.
I just like it's misdirected their intention. Like I can see what they're trying to do if it's all about, I guess, again, safe scumming or like cheating the game in some way. But
Yeah.
do it for something else, not for Animal Crossing. It's a cutesy, fun game about building a town and meeting people and just having fun. Like, it's not that serious. You know what is serious now?
The next story. So everybody likes to say how Microsoft is really setting up for the future, that 2019 was a huge year for them. Game Pass is the best thing since sliced fucking bread. Well, it looks like 2019 wasn't that good for them, as you may have thought. This is coming from Twinfinite. Microsoft gaming revenue drops 21% year on year. Xbox content and services is down 11%. So this is written by Giuseppe Nelva. And this was on the 29th, so just a couple days ago. Today, Microsoft announced its financial results for the second quarter of the fiscal year 2020, related to the period between October 1st and December 31st. First and foremost, we get an updated performance of the personal blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we learned that gaming revenue dropped 21% year on year, while Xbox content and service revenue declined 11% year on year due to the unfavorable comparison with the prior year, derived from a high sales of third-party title then, likely Red Dead Redemption 2, even if the documents don't name it. This was partially offset by growth in subscriptions. While a recent relevant change in the way Microsoft reports its metrics excludes absolute revenue for gaming and other specific business fields on top of Xbox Live monthly active users from the main documents, the Form 10Q, which I don't really know what that means, includes more details. We learned that the revenue for gaming was $3,327 million.
Okay.
So what is that? That's $3,327,000,000 compared to $4,232,000,000 earned the same quarter last year. Xbox hardware revenue decreased 43% from the previous year, primarily due to a decrease in volume and price of consoles sold.
So for me, that figure is a little alarming because it's not like the PS4, for example, that's going to drop. Obviously, it's the end of the generation. Same for Xbox One.
So
but the PS4 already has a large figure. It's like 110 million already up there.
So I need to get to Buzz's fucking comment because he's pasting something in the chat. And okay, yes, Xbox Game Pass subscribers more than doubled in Q2 2020, but Xbox content and services revenue decreased. So they got more subs, but the fucking money they made decreased, Buzz. That's what that sentence means. So it means that despite the people, that means all those people that got the $1 subscription and use that Discord whatever thing to get a free 3 months of whatever that actually cost them 11% of their services money. So more people jumped in, but those people could cancel, in which case it's an 11% net loss for them. You dolt.
Which again goes back to our conversation about this whole what is a success now for Microsoft.
Well, the one of the things to keep in mind, and this is one of the final paragraphs of the thing. It says, do keep in mind that this is fairly normal at the end of a console generation.
Right, it is.
As sales of consoles generally tend to drop when they're about to become obsolete. But my comment on that is I feel like that's oxymoronic because they said that their previous consoles are not going to be obsolete.
Right.
They are specifically not letting those consoles be obsolete, and they're still not selling.
Right.
So I don't know. I think they kind of, again, they're kind of doing a Nintendo here and getting in their own way with they're trying to do a good thing for gamers, but at the same time, it doesn't make dollars and cents wise. So I don't know. I think I have to have faith that they're going to do the right thing. I feel like they've been doing nothing but the right thing for the last 3 years.
Listen, if it's for like us, and I pay $1 for Game Pass, and I get my free games every month, like, do I give a shit about what their revenue is like? I still get my free games,
right?
And that's a selling point,
right? Of course, but it's also a selling point. But also, how many people I know? I think Oh shit! I have to remember. I have to cancel that shit soon. You gotta go and cancel it if you don't want to spend the money.
Right, right.
Especially if all you have is one of the cheaper consoles that
Right.
can't run the games very well.
Right.
But we'll see.
To me, it's just like, again, it's trying to suss out what is a win at this point, because you can say you doubled your users on a service, but if you offer that service at a very, very, very low price, well, of course you're going to make it's more enticing. You're going to attract people for $1 only to start out with. So again,
it's like
it's strange.
Yeah, it was like when I worked in the restaurant. It's like, hey, 1 month we sold, let's say, 50 of one type of steak, and then we cut the price in half, and we sold 75.
Right.
We went up 50%.
Right.
But we also only made 25%.
Oh, just to add to that story, a story came out just the other day about Sony's software sales. They've recently topped 1 billion on PS4.
$1 billion, yeah.
Yes. As of
I remember.
January 31st, it's now almost 1.2 billion in software sales.
That's dollars or pieces of software?
It just says PS4 game sales top 1 billion all time, says Sony. Well, they sold 274 million games in 2019. So it could be games. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's very good.
It's got to be, because the math wouldn't make sense if otherwise.
Yeah.
Speaking of $1 billion.
Oh yeah.
Here's our wild card. Holy shit,
Here we
Andy.
go.
Take this one.
So this is why we can bitch and moan about predatory microtransactions and loot boxes and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, they're all still buying them. EA announced that they've made $1 billion in microtransactions alone. What? And you're giving it to EA of all people? Why?
Listen, here's the thing, people. If you're listening to this, if you're still somehow listening to this show, we also do microtransactions. It's called Patreon.
Right, we do.
Patreon.com/NDS podcast. You can microtransaction just $1, $3, $5. The product is free, so we're a free to play podcast.
We are, but
if you're willing to give $1 billion to Electronic Arts, who clearly doesn't fucking need $1 billion of your money, you can give us $1 billion instead, and then maybe, just fucking maybe, I wouldn't have to worry about not having any goddamn seltzer in my refrigerator right now, and I have to drink fucking water from the tap like a pleb.
Weren't you eating steak last week on the podcast?
Shut up! I bought the chef's special. God damn it!
My filet mignon.
We're not beholden to a corporation.
And your wife ate a bagel out of the microwave.
This is all true. These are all things that happened.
Things that happened, yeah.
God.
All
right.
Why?
Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Dual Screens Report, and now it's time to crown the winners and losers. Let's start with our biggest winner of the week. Andy, who's your winner of the week?
I think it's going to be EA. $1 billion. $1 billion fucking dollars.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
It's hard, because there's so much noise on the internet and on Twitter from gamers and their dislike and reprehension of microtransactions. But again, it's just a bubble that we all live in. But once you get out there, when you see things like the top 10 list is like 7 Call of Duty games,
yeah, I know.
You know you're not talking to most gamers out there.
Yeah.
So stuff like this, again, we bitch about it, but people still buy into it all the time.
Microtransactions, to me, if it's a game that I'm on the fence about to begin with, the microtransactions turn me off to the game and I don't support the game.
Right.
But if it's a game I love, I have no problem giving you money. Like Apex Legends, I give $10 every 4 months. I give them $10 for the season pass. I have no problem doing that. If there's a really cool skin that I want that I don't think I'm going to be able to get randomly, I might buy it. And that's fine.
Right.
I haven't done it yet, but
And
I
that's
might.
what happens. It's people like
Right.
you saying, okay, I'll throw $1 here for a skin or give my $10 for the season pass there. And you
Right.
do that across millions of players over time, and then you have $1 billion going to EA.
Right. And the other thing that I think about, especially with Apex, is that the game was free.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't look at it as like a Battlefront 2 or a Call of Duty or even games like Division or stuff like that,
Right.
where like you're paying $60 and then
On top
you
of
have to,
that, yeah.
and you're still microtransactioning me. Like just fuck off. Like I understand that you need to make money,
Right.
and these games at $60
Pokemon.
don't make you the kind of money. Then raise the fucking price to $70.
Right, Pokemon.
Stop it.
Right, Pokemon.
Yeah, just raise the price to
You
$70.
understand now for the full Pokemon Sword and Shield experience, you have to pay $60 for the base game, $60 for DLC, $16 for. I'm sorry, you're paying 120. You gotta buy both games, so 120 and then 60 and then 16 for the full
Well,
experience.
I don't buy that whole full experience thing because you could trade and get those other Pokemon from people. So really, it's just
All right,
and
so
also
60, 30, and 16.
the game is still plenty. It's still a full fledged video game. You don't need the DLC
Right.
for the full experience.
Swear to God,
But
others go down this road. We're gonna see like fucking Mario skins for Pokemon or Zelda skins. It's gonna happen.
oh my god.
It's gonna happen. Oh, it's only $1. I'll buy it. I'll buy that Goron skin for my Pikachu for $1.
I'm getting lambasted in our chat because I helped fund EA. But
Yeah, you
again,
did.
let me
You
reiterate.
did.
Let me reiterate.
I didn't give them
not
shit. You
if-
bought Jedi from them also. You so twice you're contributing to EA's fucking deep
But-
pockets.
specifically, I support Respawn.
Right. But
I
it's
like
still-
Respawn. They put out a free game,
They did.
and I gave them so far maybe at the most $30.
Listen, whatever mental gymnastics you have to do to make yourself sleep at night is totally fine by me. But you still gave EA $1 billion. That's that's how I'm hearing it.
I will stab EA in the mouth.
All right, EA
I'm with you on that as the winner.
biggest winner because it's a fucking $1 billion. You can't walk away from that. The
Um,
biggest loser, I think it's a bit of a tie for me
okay.
between Microsoft and Nintendo.
Okay.
Sony is it's all rumors and speculation. So you can't put a win or loss on that either way. It's kind of neutral for me. So biggest loser is the guy who made that leak up because it's like half his old news already. So whatever.
Yeah, honestly, I think the Sony story is the biggest loser because at least the Microsoft story can kind of be looking at through rose-colored glasses saying, yes, it's the end of the generation, whatever.
Mhm.
Nintendo, this is standard fare for them. They do stupid shit like this, and it's expected. But PlayStation's still not coming out and giving us any fucking real information and telling us when the shit's going to happen is a problem. Like this, come out and say, no, you idiots, we're not doing anything on the 5th. Stop it. Like, this thing has been rumored for a month and a half. Like,
Right.
just come out and say no. Or come out and say yes, but like waiting for this long, I think is really stupid.
Do you think before I say what my biggest loser is officially?
Yeah.
Do you think that they would do a state of play type reveal for this device, like a online, like a streaming, like here's like a state of play scheduled for the 5th at 9 a.m. and it's just all about PS5 without doing an actual public reveal?
I think it's possible. I think it's possible, especially when they can say at the end of that, come get hands on with the PS5 at our many different events. Our first of which is XYZ. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, but I like that, but I think they should go with a more public, actual invite press members to attend.
That would be cool. I mean, it would be traditional, and it would be. I mean, there's nothing like a live reveal, right?
And I mean,
Everybody's screaming.
it would undercut the Series X announcement at the Games Awards because it was like, here's a rendering of it.
Right.
You only touch it and see it. But if it's like, hey guys, thanks for coming, all you press members, Here's PS5. Here's a controller. Come and touch it and play with it when we're done talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be kind of cool.
Before we get into the hype zone, let's check in with the chat. Hello, chat.
Hello, chat.
Buzz Killington says Steve is 1,000% the problem. Okay.
Yes.
Respawn is EA. Okay. That could have went to the podcast, I guess, talking about my microtransaction money. Big money, big dollar signs for Maltese. Thank you very much, Maltese. Buzz says that he thinks the biggest loser is Nintendo for Nintendoing. Keylock says Sony never comments on rumors. That is a very good point.
Very
And
true.
Mr. Nuff says literally just give something. Yes, literally anything would be nice, Sony. Come on, man. You're killing me, Smalls.
It would be.
All right, so my biggest loser I'm going to say is I'm going to say it's Nintendo.
Yeah.
They're fucking up this game before it's even out.
Right. I feel like this game doesn't need that sort of treatment. It's a wholesome game, and you're already putting an asterisk on it before it's even out. So
Right.
I'm going with that.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
So Buzz, write that down. Put it in the doc. EA is the winner this week, and Nintendo is the big loser this week. And speaking of losers, all of you are fucking losers, because the hype zone got us all. The hype zone we got, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my god!
It is happening.
This is not the Onion, people. This is
hold on. First of all, this is
real piece of news.
This is some of the biggest news of the century.
Right.
Let's not.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's not beat around the bush here. Like let's not underplay the importance of this right now. Let me ask you something, Andy.
Go ahead.
And the chat and the listener.
Mm-hmm.
When you think of the most recognizable characters of all time, I mean, you got your Mickey Mouse, you got your Mario, who is the biggest. You got, I don't know, Spider-Man. What's up there? What's one of the biggest ones up there?
The Human Centipede.
Also true. Eric Cartman.
Yeah.
Also true. Darth Vader. Baby Yoda. But of course, the most important one is Batman.
Mm.
You look at that Batman cowl, and you know who the fuck that is. That's Batman, guys. It's Batman. Andy, take us into the hype zone.
Guys, there's no bigger news. And again, this all goes back to our main point here, and that's DLC and microtransactions.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best.
Do you mean to tell me we're going to get Court of Owls or the next Batman?
No.
Is that what this hype zone is?
Who wants that pleb shit? I don't want that. They can keep that.
True.
One of the best, if not the best, Batman games in existence. Batman Arkham Knight, which is a 5-year-old game, mind you.
Mm-hmm. 5 years of bliss.
Yes. Is getting a new cosmetic DLC.
We did it. This is what all those tweets were about, ladies and gentlemen.
We've been wondering for quite some time, when's the next Rocksteady game going to come out? What's it going to be about? Is it going to be a Harry Potter game, a Superman game, Batman Beyond, Justice League? No. It's none of those. And thank God. Thank fucking God. Because
thank the Lord.
We have
an
exclusive skin to the PS4, mind you.
Exclusive. Another win for Sony.
Yes.
Suck it, Microsoft.
Huge win. It is adding an Earth 2 Dark Knight skin.
Woo!
To Batman. Which looks like Batman's suit fucked Batwoman. In a sense. It's like red and shit.
It's like Batman Beyond.
Yeah. It's just, who needs a real sequel at this point? You took 5 years off. You made a skin. $1 billion. Guaranteed. You can retire now, Rocksteady. You've done it. You've done it all.
Now, I want to point something out. On this article from Kotaku,
right?
I'm going to read from the article, quote, "The skin's journey to this point is a saga Originally, the only way to obtain it was by redeeming a voucher from a 2015 PlayStation E3 event. This isn't even a new skin, Andy.
This is how hype it is, Steven. Think of it this way: how many DLC skins do you know have lore this deep?
Not since Horse Armor has there been more
Exactly.
important DLC to the world.
Now keep reading.
I don't want to.
Then I will. Then in 2016, this fabled skin resurfaced as part of a brief Mountain Dew promotion. See how deep the lore is? It's so deep. And it wasn't
E3 and Mountain Dew, Andy.
Yes, we're both involved. You throw Jeff Keighley in there, it's a win-win situation. It's like it wasn't until last year that the skin became more widely available in the PS4 version of Batman Arkham Collection, which contained definitive versions of all 3 Rocksteady Arkham games and all post-launch content. So, we're here. This is 5 years in the making.
Yeah.
This is the true winner of all winners. So I think EA should sign that check over to Rocksteady as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and agree with you on that one.
And I think that's, that's the end.
Yeah, that's the end of the Hype Zone. Hype Zone is done. All right, before we get into our final segment, which is, not our final segment, our second to last segment, we're going to get into your mailbag, ladies and gentlemen. Before we do so, we're going to tell you about our sponsors.
You got sponsors?
We have Melted.
2 of them.
Yeah, baby. 2. Melted Pins. Melted Pins. We've been talking about Melted Pins for a couple of months now. Artist Kelsey Lynn has done art for this podcast, has done art for many different websites, and it's just a really talented artist. And her website, meltedpins.com, she sells original tattoo art, inspired pins, buttons, and things like that, all hand-drawn and crafted. So if you go to meltedpins.com and use the checkout code NDSmelted, you will get 10% off of your order. No, Buzz, I'm looking at your comment right there, and I have to say, no, we didn't forget that. I'm definitely going to talk about that. So, folks, go to meltedpins.com, use the promo code NDSmelted right now, 10% off of your order. And our next sponsor, hold on, I'm going to go get the book right now. Patrick Hickey Jr.'s The Minds Behind the Adventure Games. Ladies and gentlemen, this book is chock full of incredible behind-the-scenes stories of some of the biggest games in the history of video games, some cult classics here. I'm going to just read from the back here. Featuring interviews with the creators of 31 popular video games, including Grand Theft Auto, Strider, Maximum Carnage, and Pitfall. This book gives a behind-the-scenes look at the origins of some of the most enjoyable and iconic adventure games of all time. Interviewees recount the endless hours of painstaking development, the challenges working with mega publishers, the growth of the adventure genre, and the creative processes that produced some of the industry's biggest hits, cult classics, and indie successes. This book, you can get on patrickhickeyjr.com, in which case he personalizes every order. I think they're sold out right now on his website, but he will get restocked and send them out to you as soon as they come in, or you could order them from amazon.com. There may be you can also get a digital copy, I believe, on Google Store. So you can read that right on your phone if you want. And soon the Amazon Kindle edition will be available. I know a bunch of you did order some copies recently. I know Maltese got one. Andy, you got one. Mr. Nuff got one recently. They're a fantastic read. They really are.
Dude, I've seen his behind the shooter games, like a sneak peek of his guests or interviews for that book.
Mm-hmm.
Holy hell. He's got some amazing talent lined up for that one. Super excited about that.
Andy.
Steven, before we move on.
We're faked out. We're faked out, Andy.
We did get faked out because there's something I came across a second ago.
There's a new hype. There's a second hype zone.
Now, I haven't read anything in the chat. I don't see it at this point. But is it about Nintendo?
No.
Shit. Okay. We may have to readjust our loser for the week.
Oh, God.
It may have to go to Microsoft.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Because apparently This whole Animal Crossing shit
Yeah.
is meaningless. And you know why?
Why is that?
As we speak, Nintendo is selling. Did you see the Animal Crossing Switch edition,
Yes.
by the way?
Yes, I
Right.
did. Yeah. Gorgeous.
Nintendo is selling empty boxes of the console in Japan. So just the box that has, it's the box of the actual console that will sell when the game comes out. It's empty. That's being sold.
As a placeholder or just
Yeah, it's an empty box. Now, it wouldn't be the first time they sold cardboard, Nintendo, but
yeah, is this Animal Crossing Labo?
right,
Like I
no,
don't
it's just a box. It's like if I
Nintendo, you're doubling up on your Loserville,
no,
my
I
friend.
think this wipes out their loss for the week because apparently they can't do no wrong with the series. They're selling empty boxes. No one gives a shit. So they're making more money. They're gonna make money on the game, on the collector edition, and an empty box.
Andy,
Yes.
the second hype zone.
Please.
I'm just going to read the first sentence
Go
of
ahead.
this article.
Go ahead.
Atari is opening a chain of hotels.
Can we amend the biggest winner of the week?
What are we, the Senate? What's happening here? This whole doc is being amended every 5 seconds.
Yes. And you want to amend the what you call it, don't you? The backlog accountability club.
Well, it's a slight amendment. I think you'll agree.
Still making an amendment. Shit, it's all being amended.
All right, let's get into mailbag.
Let's get mailbag.
So they're making hotels, by the way, that are gamer focused because apparently gamers who travel don't have the amenities that they need to play their video games, like proper HDMI inputs in their hotel televisions or
Okay.
adequate internet, I guess. So Atari's
Right.
making these hotels. They said that they were making a 40 and over speakeasy.
Sexy. What's the password to get in? Pineapple?
No, missile command or
Kumquat?
something. I don't fucking know. All right, mailbag
Here
time.
we
This
go.
is coming from Enough
Here we go.
from our Discord mailbag, which you can join easily by going to patreon.com/NDS podcast. I just bought Journey to the Savage Planet today. It's a budget title that mashes together a ton of different mechanics from a whole gamut of games, including Far Cry, No Man's Sky, and even Metroid Prime. I'm having a blast playing it, and it got me thinking about B-movie style titles in general and how they fit into the industry. Do you think we could see a renaissance in these type of titles next gen, and that would be comparable to the rise of the indie titles over the last 10 years?
I hope so.
Right to my brain, I instantly think of games like Until Dawn
Yeah.
and Friday the 13th, Predator Hunting Grounds, those smaller teams that are aspiring to make AAA type titles. Like obviously Until Dawn kind of put them on the map. What was the dev? I'm sorry, I'm blanking. I'm so bad at this.
Until Dawn?
Yeah.
Super massive games.
Yeah, super. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put them on the map as far as being a legitimate contender. So, I think that there has been a place for these games. Even as you said, enough. No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is definitely a B movie style title. Like that was a tiny studio that made like a mobile game essentially, and then made that game and has continued to make that game even better. Yeah, I think that it's definitely. I definitely think that there's more room for these indie studios to grow into the AA space, the space that used to be held in the PS2 era, so cherished. It was a pretty popular thing to do. Those AA games, but yeah, I think this next gen is really going to be a place for those games to really exist. What are your thoughts, Andy?
I want that to be the truth. I feel like
Mhm.
this is the time for those kind of games to really make an impact and to kind of like just come back into the spotlight a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot about that game enough, and I've been kind of eager to play it. But I'm trying not to buy a lot of games lately, so I'm
Hmm.
trying to avoid all of that. But yeah, I think I want to see more of those kind of games make a resurgence and just be and get like the spotlight that they deserve. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Mm. Peter S. coming from our Discord mailbag, which again, patreon.com/NDS podcast. If license rights to older games didn't exist to stop it from being possible, would you rather see a remaster of Perfect Dark or GoldenEye 007?
Ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh,
For me, it's Perfect Dark, hands down.
Yeah, I'm going the same route.
It was a better game. I know that that's crazy to say, but like, yes, 007 was like just nostalgia central. Um, but I think Perfect Dark was better, and I think if you reiterate on and really perfect what Perfect Dark did, which was in itself a or a remastering of 007, kind of like they took that formula and kind of made it
Right.
even better. Um, but like they can't make the same mistake that they made when they made Perfect Dark Zero, because that game kind of blew a little bit.
I
I
think
wasn't a fan of that game.
I would go Perfect Dark because that game it took the best parts of GoldenEye and it gave it really insane weapons like the
Yeah,
X-ray
yeah, yeah.
gun and the turrets and the sentries and the remote
The
monitor.
turrets, man. I love the turrets.
So
Oh.
yeah, I hands down I would go Perfect Dark. Yeah.
Okay, and this is coming from Kirsch, and this is going to probably take a while.
Oh God.
I want Andy and Steve to discuss why Steve's opinions about 10 out of 10 games are wrong.
Oh God.
Backstory. Here's some backstory on this.
I'm getting a
We were
migraine.
talking
I'm getting a
we were
migraine.
talking about BioShock, and I had said I had recently beaten BioShock, which I beat like in the fall last year or maybe late summer. And I enjoyed it, but I felt like the gameplay and combat did not hold up to today's standards. And then in the chat, two of our
Everyone
listeners,
yelled at you.
no, two people said, "Oh, it was never about the gameplay. The gameplay wasn't that great back in 2007 either. It's, it still left something to be desired even back then." So to which I replied, how the fuck can the game in 2007 at that point get a 10 out of 10 if the gameplay, the moment to moment gameplay, was not great?
Are they comparing it to today's standards for an FPS?
So originally I was, but then they said it wasn't even good back then.
I don't agree with that. I
Well,
thought it was fine back then.
whether or not that is a true statement,
I don't agree with that.
whether or not that's a true statement
I don't.
is irrelevant. My whole argument was if the game back in 2007 had made some really just
Because you can
dull. Go ahead.
you can say that it didn't age well.
That's
Like,
that's the point I was making.
I've gone back and played like I've been recently been playing Mega Man Legends again because one of my friends brought it up to me and I'm like, "Fuck you, I'm playing it now." The controls in that game are horrid. Using L1 and R1 to turn your character around is
Right.
atrocious.
Yeah.
But back then, I didn't find them that off-putting. Yeah, I mean a
Right.
little bit, but like today, I'm like, God damn, what were they thinking with these control schemes? But BioShock, I'm thinking, let me look back further to a similar game, Half-Life. What were those controls like?
Well, let's okay. So you have Half-Life, but like one of the things that one of our contributors, Thorn Stone, he was in the chat as well, and he was arguing with me as well. He was saying that like games like Call of Duty were out at that time, and Call of Duty does shooting better than anyone, and even Halo. Halo was out at this time.
Right.
Halo 1, 2, and maybe 3 at this point, I think.
I don't think maybe 3 possibly.
I think 3 was 2005. I could be wrong. I think it
Right.
was 2000, 2003, and 2005. I think. I could be wrong. I don't know. Buzz in the chat is saying 3 was out when BioShock came out. Those games did shooting so well, and I think that BioShock, although it had the plasmids and that was really cool, and no game did atmosphere and storytelling better at the time, in my opinion. Like BioShock was a step above everyone in that regard. But the shooting, the core thing that you're doing in the game to fight enemies, was bad. It wasn't good. It felt like it had no weight behind it. It felt like it was kind of like the enemies were just bullet sponges. It just wasn't fun. But the story is what kept me playing, and I could see that. So I could see that in 2007, if you compared it to other shooter games, I feel like you couldn't give this game a masterpiece score, because in my opinion, a 10 out of 10, which is a masterpiece, needs to be a masterpiece on every main thing that it is trying to do. If you're a shooter game, you should be an excellent shooter game. If you are a atmospheric horror or suspense game, you should be an excellent horror game as well. If you are a RPG, if you have RPG elements, those RPG elements should be excellent. And I feel like one thing of that kind of holds the game back, in my opinion, from being a masterpiece. And I can't see why somebody would forego something that we already know could be better and throw the label masterpiece on it. That's my argument.
Right. So I don't agree with this whole thing that the mechanics were sort of not great for its time. I never got... Do you find them clunky, unintuitive, unresponsive? What's your main gripe with the gameplay in BioShock?
It was... Yes, it was clunky. It wasn't rewarding. The guns didn't feel good.
You're playing the collection, right?
Yeah.
Which I believe wasn't the best port. Not to, I don't want to put your opinion down and say it's based on a shitty port of the game. But when I played the original back in the day, I had no major issues with the controls game or how it played. That being said, I don't think it's fair to say, well, those were bad for those standards, but today those are better. But it's like, well, that means you can review any game retroactively and give it a lower score.
Right.
Which I don't subscribe to that idea at all.
Well, yeah. I mean, my whole point was I was ready to concede that I could see why people would give this a 10 out of 10 masterpiece before I was told that it was also not looked at as a great shooter even then. Like, with that in my mind, I'm thinking, well, then how could those same people who say it wasn't a great shooter also say it's still a masterpiece? Like, I just don't agree with that. Like, with the games that I think are a masterpiece, Super Mario Brothers 3 is a masterpiece to me.
Yeah.
There's no platformer that is that masterfully done. And now you could say, oh, well, what's the story in Mario Brothers 3? The way they tell their story of you rescuing the princess, the simple MacGuffin of the story, is so much fun and whimsical. And
here's a...
Go ahead.
This could be a interesting debate.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that Majora's Mask is a better, more fun game than Ocarina of Time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that Majora's Mask is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. I think Ocarina of Time is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece.
Yeah,
I mean, how do I reconcile that? If one game...
because one is more fun.
If I can say, here's a game that I think is more fun, and it tells a better story, and it has more engaging gameplay mechanics than its predecessor, but the one that came before it, I think, is a masterpiece and it's quote unquote perfect game.
Right. I think that, well, I don't think any game is really perfect. I think you're always going to find something.
Well, that's the thing. The idea of perfect doesn't mean without flaw.
Right. When I look at a game, like when I'm reviewing a game, and it's a reason why we don't use scores for our games and we just
Right.
use recommendations.
Right.
When I look at a game, I think the best of the best are a master in its class. So if I'm reviewing a football video game,
Mm-hmm.
calling that a 10 out of 10 is different than calling a Witcher 3 a 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Because Madden or a football game that has no story is just an excellent football game is not telling a story, doesn't have these crazy RPG elements, but it could be an incredible football video game
Right.
that does football exceptionally well. So when I take that mindset and I look at BioShock, BioShock is still a shooter. That's its main gameplay loop, is that it is a shooter game.
Mm-hmm.
And it does not excel at the shooting. It's fine. It's serviceable.
Mm-hmm.
It's a decently made, I would even say it's a great shooter,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not a masterclass of shooting.
Is it because the weapons are limited?
No, it's because they don't feel good.
It's what there's a revolver, a shotgun. I'm trying to think.
They don't feel good to use. They don't seem to have impact when they hit enemies. The enemies take forever to go down, and even the simple ones, they're very floaty in your reticle. Like when you're moving your reticle around, it's very floaty.
That's because they are trying to make you focus more on the ability part of the gameplay. The your abilities, as it were.
Mm. No, like playing around with the abilities was fine,
Right.
and I did that more than I did shooting.
Yeah, the plasmids.
I felt.
Yeah.
At least I did I would use plasmids to take out like the bigger stuff or the things that gave me more problems, but like using the shotgun or the revolver for the cannon fodder, just like blasting them. But like the reticle doesn't change. It doesn't change the way it looks when you're over an enemy. So like I don't know. It just didn't. The way the enemies moved was antithetical to the way you aimed, and I think that might have been a design choice to make you feel inferior to them, to kind of up the suspense a little bit artificially,
And
kind of like
also,
a
this
Resident Evil situation.
Right. I think this is also you aren't some sort of super soldier, but again, that's a crutch I feel to explain away what could be bad mechanics.
But you also are a super soldier.
Well, you are and you aren't. I mean,
You got all these crazy plasmids.
sure.
I don't know, man. It just
you're still an average guy, though. You're an average Joe.
right. Well,
Sure,
no spoilers, but yeah.
Right.
But no, I haven't played any other BioShock, so I'd be very interested to see how they fix the shooting mechanics in the second one. I heard the second one's not as good.
It isn't.
But I've heard great things about Infinite.
Because two falls short in other ways, and that's the plot isn't nowhere near as engaging.
Right.
First one was.
Right. But going back to our chat, Missed Enough actually has a good point. He says, right, but in the atmospheric shooter category, BioShock was a 10 out of 10. I guess you could say that if it's its own genre. I guess.
I would grant that score. See, now, if you play a game like Alien Isolation, which is a more current atmospheric shooter game, doesn't have the best shooting mechanics. You can, there's far superior ones in the Call of Duty games or even like in Apex Legends, but I think that's part of the equation where you're trying to build atmosphere and tension in a game like that. You're not a soldier.
Yeah, I just think that the way, even if you're not a soldier, it should still feel good to shoot something. Especially if that's something especially if that's the thing you're doing over and over again.
Right. It shouldn't be like a headshot misses, when you're like right on the mark.
What game? There was a game at PAX East, and I don't remember the name of it. But remember, we were playing a game that had missing sound effects for when you hit an enemy. Was it Bloodstained?
Oh no, I don't think it was Bloodstained, but I do recall this.
There was a game that did not have a spark or like a any sort of visual effect or sound effect when you hit something. it was a game early in development, but
So definitely not
that's what I
Bloodstained.
felt. That's what I felt like with BioShock. It was like there was just something missing. Like when I hit an enemy, there was a slight animation of them getting hit and like maybe a little blood spatter, but it wasn't. It didn't like feel great. Like when you shoot somebody in Halo, shoot one of those aliens in Halo, it's like, yes, that felt so good. Not necessarily that you're good at shooting, but
Right.
it felt good to do it. And I
I
guess that's where it lacked for me. For me, a BioShock, like I could see it to be like between an 8 and a 9 out of 10 for me. I loved it. I thought it was a blast to play. The ending, the twist at the end was really cool. But when I'm looking at a masterpiece, to me, Resident Evil 4 is a masterpiece.
I'd love to revisit this conversation after I play BioShock again when it's free for PSN Plus in a couple of days.
Couple days, brah.
So I'll check that out.
Okay, cool. All right, so that if there's nothing else, let me check no more questions. Let me check Twitter, see if we got any Twitter questions. Nothing. All right, so that is it. That's all the questions we have. Thank you so much, everybody, for the discussion. Let's go to the chat and get their questions. Okay. A lot of people giving some love for BioShock Infinite. Keylock asks, what did he say was a masterpiece? I said Resident Evil 4 to me is a masterpiece. And Mr. Enough says, what I really mean to say is Steve is still wrong and BioShock is a 10 out of 10.
I would give Death Stranding a 10 out of 10 masterpiece.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I know it is very interesting.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about them apples?
Maltese has a question here, and I really love this fucking question. I love it so much.
It's the best Stranding game that ever existed.
When will the leaks stop? Are leaks the new news?
See, this goes back to E3's relevancy in the gaming world because things are coming out faster now and also if you're a YouTuber or like an internet personality, your stuff lives and dies by rumors because if you're not going to cover it, then someone else will, and look at the hits and the clicks. So yes, it is the new news.
I know.
Yeah, that's how it is now. These things travel so fast. So yeah, I agree with that.
All right, Retro Game Club time.
Yay!
It's the final one. We're already almost an hour and 40 minutes into this thing, so let's just touch on it real quick. Did you play Dark Cloud?
Yeah.
Okay. How did you get all the characters yet? Because that takes a while to do.
Again, this is hard because I'm trying to play games where money's on the line versus just a game for fun.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I hope our listeners got to play these games if they have it in some way. Dark Cloud was this month's Retro Game Club game. We're going to choose new games right now. I played Parasite Eve.
How far did you get? I'm curious.
Nah, not that far. I got the gist of what the game was, and I really like the way they do combat and kind of, I mean, I guess it's a PS1 game, so I understand the way like you have to go to the map to kind of move around a lot, which is okay. Kind of wish you were able to just more like openly explore things. But whatever.
It's still a PS1 game.
I know that. Like I'm trying to look at it in that vein, but like I really want like a Persona 4 Golden type remaster of Parasite Eve.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be awesome if we got something like that where they do a lot of quality of life improvements because the core gameplay mechanic is really, really good and the atmosphere is really good. I don't know what the fuck is going on in the story, but I like it a lot.
It's a lot of pseudoscience, but it's fun.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. So let's pick new games. What game do you want me to play this month for the month of February?
So I am also going to stick with PS1 game.
Okay.
For month of Feb. Something more action oriented.
Okay.
It is one of my all-time favorite games on the PS1.
Okay, what am I
It's
playing,
a
Andy? Hit me.
game I think many don't even know about. It's a Bandai game.
Okay.
It is called Silent Bomber.
Oh, I know Silent Bomber.
Okay. This
That was one of
game,
our retro game club games when we first started
yeah,
NDS.
this game was
Oh no,
no,
this
no.
was something you made
This
an
is
article about.
right. This is
You wanted
a,
to, yeah.
a remake of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this game is like Bomberman meets like a Zelda. It's a top-down game. You play
Mm-hmm.
as a guy that can shoot bombs out of his arm, and you can power the bombs up in three different ways. There's a fire bomb, like a explodey bomb, some other bomb. There's massive boss fights. It's got a kick-ass soundtrack, and it came very late in the PS1's life cycle. And yes, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. You gotta play it. Gotta play it.
Gotta play it. Silent Bomber.
It's
Okay.
hard. It's really hard. Challenging ass game. Yes.
So what am I gonna pick for you? Because I had a bunch of different thoughts about this, and I'm not. I don't. Do you know what? I want you to pick a console.
Okay.
Pick something you want to play on.
Let's see. You picked PS2 for your first pick.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What can we do? Pick me. Let's do a GameCube game.
GameCube. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Trying to think of what I owned. Oh, all right. Let me just see what year it came out. Cube. I think you'll like this one. So let's do. I mean, it was also on PS2, but the GameCube is where I played this game.
Okay.
And I really liked it. It's revered as one of the best in its series.
Uh-huh.
And we just did an article on dualscreens.com that Thorn Stone wrote about the top 5 Dungeons and Dragons video games.
Oh, okay.
I would like for you to try out Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance.
Oh, okay, great.
I think that's a great game.
Okay. I mean, but sure, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great game, and I would like for you to revisit it.
Yes.
And to see if it still holds up, and because we're getting a new one.
I know.
So,
okay.
I think that'd be fun.
All right, I'm into it.
Dark Alliance. I don't know why I own that game on GameCube, but I did. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to bring us to the end of the show. If you want to follow us on social media, you could do so at NDS Podcast. If you want to follow me, I am at Batchild27. Andy is at PantsGuy. If you want to join our Facebook group, you could do so at facebook.com/group/dualscreenspodcasts. Also, give us a like on our facebook.com/dualscreens. I think it's actually dualscreens.com. Like DOTCOM. I don't know. It's just search Dual Screens. We'll show up there on Facebook. Give us a like on there. That would help us out a lot. If you like what you see, give us a follow on twitch.tv/dualscreenstreams like Josh Frost78 just did live right here.
Oh, hey, Josh.
It just happened. Thank you, Josh, for the follow.
What an amazing person. Thank you.
Give us all the follows and whatnot. And thank you for the host. Look at that. See, you just host us right here live on the thing. This was awesome. Thank you, Zazu Pitts of Sour Note Productions, for our theme song. Thank you, Matt Murray, for this wonderful overlay on our video version of the show. Thank you, Andrew Douglas, for all of our podcast art. If you want to send us your comments, questions, and concerns, do so at feedback@ndspodcast.com. If you want to buy some of our stuff, go to teespring.com/stores/dualscreensshop. All these links are going to be in the show description, so that would be awesome. Thanks again, one more time, to Melted Pins and Patrick Hickey Jr. is the mind behind the adventure games. What else? If you are watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. Please, just do it. It's so easy. And hit the bell so you know that when we post some new stuff up. We got a lot of great videos coming up. A lot of new first plays coming up. A lot of exciting things. Perhaps more unboxing. We don't know. Andy, is there anything you want to tell the kids before we go?
Well, let's see. You already announced this week's guest for the Dual Screens podcast, and that is the folks at Vertigo Games talking about Cook Serve Delicious 3,
Mhm.
which is out now in early access on Steam. We have a lot of guests lined up for that show for all of Feb, already planned out, with some guests already booked for March and April.
Yes, sir.
And look forward to us crashing PAX East again this year in a couple weeks,
Mhm.
where some fun shit will go down.
A lot of fun stuff.
Even more fun shit than last year.
Very exciting stuff.
Cannot wait.
All right, guys. If you want to hang out and listen to the post show, you can do so by supporting us on patreon.com/NDS podcast. The post show is all about the Backlog Accountability Club, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, our chat on twitch.tv/dualscreenstreams. Thank you, everyone. As always.
Also, wait. Thanks to everyone who stopped by today. We had Farmer Pete. We had our friend Buzz. We had Kirsch. We had Josh. Thanks for following, Josh. We had Ozzy. He's the best one, that Ozzy. The best guy there ever was. Yeah. I love this format, by the way.
This is fun.
In case you didn't know.
This is fun. We always have fun.
This is good.
Thank you so much for listening, folks. Take care, and as always, please be excellent to each other.